We've been looking at the 8 qualities at the beginning of the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew chapter 5, known as the Beatitudes, and making particular application of these qualities to the Christian home. Now today, I'd like us to look at the 5th quality in Matthew 5:7, where Jesus says, "Blessed are the merciful." Now for the most part, the days in which Jesus lived and preached were not characterized by mercy. Mercy certainly was not a characteristic of the Jewish leaders who were proud and self-righteous and judgmental. And the person who lacks mercy will often have that angry, critical, judgmental spirit. There's nothing more damaging to a church or a family or a business than an angry, critical spirit. No one likes to be in a home where all you hear are negative, critical words. No one likes to be in a work environment where all you get is put-downs. And no one likes to be in a church where there's griping and complaining. But it's the home that I want to focus on in these few moments, and especially our relationship with our children. Of all the thousands of books on parenting, there is only one verse in the New Testament that deals directly with the parent-child relationship. There's a parallel passage in the book of Colossians, but essentially there's just one verse that strikes at the very heart of the parent-child relationship. Paul says in Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 4, "And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath." Now, how do you provoke your children to wrath? Well, there are perhaps many ways. By consistently disciplining them in anger, by having double standards, by not admitting when we're wrong, by constantly finding fault, by not listening to the child's opinion or the child's side of the story. But do you know what is the biggest producer of wrath or anger? The biggest producer of anger is anger itself. Proverbs 29:22 says, "An angry man stirreth up strife, and a furious man aboundeth in transgression." Now that gives us a little more insight into what Paul might be talking about in Ephesians chapter 6 when he says to us as parents, "Provoke not your children to wrath." We sometimes feel justified in our anger as parents, but James 1:20 warns that the wrath of man, the anger of man, worketh not the righteousness of God. The wrath of man is wrong, and it will never accomplish the righteous purposes of God. I believe one of the major reasons why we lose our children to the world is because of the angry, critical atmosphere in many Christian homes. And most of the things that make us angry are just not worth bothering about. Proverbs 19:11 says, "The discretion of a man deferreth his anger, and it is his glory to pass over or overlook a transgression." Now, I'm not saying that we overlook sin. If there is sin, that needs to be confronted and it needs to be addressed and dealt with. But to overlook those little offenses, those things that just simply irritate us and cause us to get angry, and we end up destroying those precious relationships we have with our children. There is no such thing as a perfect child. They're going to fail. They're going to make mistakes. They'll disappoint you. But please, please, please give them that freedom to fail. If your children have wronged you or disappointed you, the key at this point is not to withdraw yourself from them, not to isolate yourself from them, but to draw closer to them, to show them that you love them and that you accept them unconditionally. We need to beware of making a child a prisoner of our expectations, because expectations will undoubtedly destroy relationships. As parents, we need to provide our children with a loving, secure relationship. And if your home is given to an angry, critical atmosphere, that needs to be replaced with praise and acceptance. It's amazing what a little bit of praise can do to encourage a son or a daughter. It's amazing what a little bit of praise can do to encourage your spouse. And if you can't think of anything, ask the Lord, ask your wife, ask your husband to show you areas where you can praise that child. Somebody said even a conceited person has at least one good quality, He doesn't talk about other people. So praise your child for even the smallest display of character, and purpose to rid your home of that angry, critical atmosphere.